Okay, another big update where the list of topics takes up half a page. This is part 7 of the developer progress vlog. Use the timestamps to jump to the section you're interested in. I added a new aiming mode. With this mode turned on, your movement is absolute, like in locked in mode, but your ship always points towards your cursor. This makes the game a lot easier. So easy, in fact, that I plan to have this mode be an unlockable cheat. That's right, I'm copying from GoldenEye and giving you a list of cheats you unlock by completing challenges. And you can use them on stages you've already beaten. I added the lock icon I promised. I've implemented the boss health segment system I mentioned last time. Lots of tedious math involved to get it to work, but now I can give it any amount of HP and number of typing challenges and it'll just work. The challenges are sequential during the boss fight rather than random. Speaking of bosses, the Zeppelin is a lot more active now. He moves around the screen firing cannonballs at you. There's a dotted line to warn you where he's aiming. He loses lock on a bit before he fires. I was elbow deep in more annoying math to figure out how to draw a line through the player and reflect off the edge of the screen when I realized I could just have him actually fire little tracers with no collision and just let them have the same constants. The cannonball is a placeholder. I plan to make the actual sprite be a clump of teddy bears. The teddy has a tie now, by the way. This is important to the lore. The cannonball explodes into these little explosion sprites I made. They don't look great individually, but when there are a lot of them, I think it works. The explosion can damage the boss. When the boss is at half health, he gets more aggressive, and his sprite changes to this weakened one. It's good to give the player visual feedback so they know their vandalism isn't in vain. He also fires angry teddies at you, which is the only way you can upgrade your gun during the fight. I added this meter to show you when he's close to firing them. It becomes less transparent the closer it is to full. I might take this meter out if it doesn't seem to be useful or messes up the design. One cheat I'm putting in is if you get the boss to kill himself without you ever shooting at him, you unlock his cannonball. It behaves the same as it does for him. You can even kill yourself with it if you just can't take any more of this game. I switched over to 3D audio, which meant going around to everywhere I'm making a sound and passing in some extra parameters. So now the sounds are in stereo. I improved the look of the warning lights. Instead of looking like bland red circles, they have the appearance of some depth and luminance to them. I also made the shot sprites look a whole lot cooler. They were mostly just flat colors before. I added a glow effect and also made the inner colors more dynamic. I switched over to using Photoshop for the shots so I could use tools like radial gradients and vector masks. The plasma shot is completely redone. Besides adding the same effects I did for the magma shot, I took this one into the third dimension. I tried several things with the sprite work, but I just couldn't get past the mental image of the two halves bouncing off of each other, instead of being on intersecting sine waves. So I made them separate sprites, and used some trig functions to make them wave not just up and down, but also in and out of the screen. So they get bigger as they get closer, and smaller as they get further away. They also tilt up or down relative to where they are on the sine wave. Overall, the new plasma shot took me a whole evening to get right. Another quality of life change. When you die and respawn, you get this little ping to help you locate yourself. I added a new stage. This one is obviously music themed. The background is another placeholder. The piano at the bottom is functional and reacts to your ship or your bullets. The sounds were recorded from my piano. I broke convention a little and made it start at D, so if you play all the notes, you have a Dorian scale, because we're all tired of playing the major scale in video games. To complement this, the background music will be in D Dorian, so if you want to play along, you have more good options. I'm kind of proud of the logic I used to make the piano. I didn't want to draw like 24 different sprites, so I just drew a white key with different levels of shadows and 2 halves of a black key. Then I made some hash maps to decide when to show the black keys and added some checks for downness, and bam! Full screen piano. Notice how the white key shadow changes if the key before it is down. Each key has a reference to the one before it, like a linked list. The obstacles in the stage are these sort of marching drums that play themselves. Not much to say about that. The enemies are double basses that also play themselves. If you hit them, they become cellos. And if you hit them again, they become violins. If you finish them off, you get this collapsing violin sprite. I've started committing my changes to GitHub for version control. I should have done that from the beginning, not really sure why I didn't. The MIDI keyboard arrived, and I paid for the full version of Reaper. It seems like it will be a great boon for making the soundtrack later. And now you're all caught up. I have a lot of ideas in my head I'm eager to get to work on, so I'll take my leave now. See ya!